Hi, this is Jay Early. Welcome. This is the next video in the series, and in this video you're actually going to work with a part of yours. Go inside and work with it experientially using IFS. So we'll get started with that. So this is going to be a guided meditation where you will work with one of your protectors, and do this guided meditation. Make sure to do this in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. And of course, don't do this while you're driving a car. So if you need to take a moment to find a quiet place to do this, you can pause the video and then continue when you're all set up. Okay, so I'm going to assume now that you're in a quiet place to do a guided meditation for maybe 10-15 minutes. So the first step is to choose a protector, choose a part, which will probably be a protector that you'd like to work with. So basically, think of a situation in your life where you don't act or feel the way you'd like to, something you'd like to change. Maybe a situation where you're shy, or where you get too angry, or where you feel bad about yourself, anything like that, where you procrastinate too much, maybe you're too controlling or too people-pleasing, whatever it is. Choose something. And if you need to take a little time, you can again pause the video to do that. And then now that you've chosen a situation, choose the part of you that tends to create that unfortunate behavior or feelings in that situation. So if it was a situation where you're shy, it would be the shy part of you. It's a situation where you're angry, it would be the angry part of you. And if you're not sure exactly what the part is, then go through this little exercise. Remember the last time this situation occurred, or remember what it's usually like when that situation occurs. And I'll give you a minute to do that. And then imagine that you're feeling that right now. Of course, that won't be as strong as when it actually happens in the real situation, but probably it'll be enough to give you a sense of that and to access, and to see the parts that are involved. So once you're imagining that you're in that situation, then just take a moment, check inside to see what feelings, thoughts, body sensations, urges, avoidances, whatever you notice going on inside that's related to the situation. And once you've done that, and if you need more time, again, pause the video, take as much time as you need. But then once you've got a sense of those different parts, maybe maybe a part that, like with Sandy in the last video, maybe you sense a part that wants to avoid, and another part that's, ragging on you to get it done. Maybe you're sensing some pain inside. Those might be the different parts. But pick the one that's directly related with the behavior that you'd like to change. Like in Sandy's case, the procrastination behavior. That would be the procrastination part. Choose that one to work with. And again, if you need more time, pause the video. And now, in order to get ready for the guided meditation, it's most useful to sit in an upright but relaxed posture. Close your eyes, go inside, and begin by sensing the body sensations in your belly. This is a way of helping you to take you into a little bit of a deeper meditative place. So as you sense your belly, you might sense a fullness or a softness or a solidness or anything else. You might even just sense the rise and fall of your belly with each breath. Whatever the sensation is, just be present with that body sensation right now. And if you find your mind wandering, just gently bring it back to your belly in the present. And as you stay with your belly sensations, you may notice yourself relaxing a little bit. Perhaps going into a deeper place inside. And now what I'd like you to do is focus on that part that you chose to work with for this guided meditation. And you might notice if an image arises of what that part looks like. You might notice how you feel that part in your body. You might notice what that part feels emotionally, or what you feel emotionally as you're in touch with that part. And you also might notice, you might hear inside that part saying things. All those are different ways to access that part experientially. So I'm going to assume you've done that now. And now what I'd like you to do is just say hello to the part to indicate that you're interested in getting to know it. And once you've done that, notice if you sense any response from the part. And now check to see how you're feeling toward that part right now, or what your attitude toward it is. In other words, are you feeling maybe openly curious, or compassionate, or interested in the part? Or maybe on the other hand, you're feeling angry toward it, or judgmental toward it, or like you want to get rid of it. Well, if you're feeling any of those, then it means you're not in self with respect to that part, because you need to be in self for this exercise. So before we go on, if you are feeling angry, judgmental, or wanting to get rid of the part or something like that, it means there's another part of you that's feeling that. I'm going to call that other part a concerned part. So if that's what's going on, first of all, it's understandable that a part of you might be angry or judgmental toward the part you've chosen to work with. Because after all, you chose to work with it because it's causing you problems in your life. So it's not surprising, it makes sense. So acknowledge the part of you, that concerned part, but ask it if it would be willing to step aside just for the rest of this guided meditation. So you can get to know the target part, the part you've chosen to work with, from an open place, which is the best way to help change that part. And once don't try to make the concerned part step aside, just ask if it's willing and notice what happens. And if you notice, you may notice a shift. You feel more open, more curious about the target part. Or it might say yes. Or on the other hand, maybe you don't notice any difference, or maybe it says no. In that case, Ask the concerned part what it's afraid would happen if it stepped aside right now. And it might say, well, I'm afraid if I step aside, then this target part is just going to take over and do bad things, do unpleasant, destructive things. So if that's what it says, reassure the concerned part that you won't let that happen. That's not what we're going to do. You're going to get to know the target part and find out what it's trying to do for you, how it's trying to help you. That's all we're going to be doing. And see if under those conditions it would be willing to step aside. Okay, and if it has, check again to see what you're feeling toward the target part. And if you notice any other concerned parts, then also ask them to step aside. So I'm going to assume now that they have, and that you're now feeling openly curious about getting to know the target part from its own perspective. And so ask the target part what it's trying to accomplish by doing whatever it does. By being shy or being angry or judging you or whatever it does, ask it what it's trying to accomplish or what it's trying to get for you by doing that. And then just wait. Don't try to figure out the answer. Just wait. Ask the question and just wait for an answer from the part. And the part will usually answer in words, but some parts may answer through body sensations or through imagery. That's fine too. And now ask the part what it is afraid would happen if it didn't do what it usually does. And now that you've heard the part's answers to these questions, you might be curious about other things. So if you have any follow-up questions that you'd like to ask the part based on the answers you've heard, go ahead and ask it those now, as long as you're asking from an openly curious place. And now ask that target part if there's anything else that it would like you to know about what it's trying to do for you or how it's trying to protect you. And now check to see if you feel like you now understand the target part, at least to the extent of why it does what it does and how it's trying to help you. And see if you can appreciate the target part's intent. See if you can appreciate the fact that it is trying to help or protect you, even though you obviously don't like the effect it's having. And if you can appreciate the intent of the target part, then convey that appreciation to the target part silently right now. And once you've done that, notice how it's responding to you. And now see if you have any sense of the exile, the wounded child part that this target part is protecting. We're not going to work with the exile in this short meditation, but just see if you have a sense of what exile or exiles it might be protecting. Okay, so now thank the target part for making itself known to you and giving you whatever information it's given you and hopefully connecting with you in some way. And now gradually begin to bring yourself back from the meditative place that you've been in. In your own time, beginning to move around a little. Maybe open your eyes. Come back to the webinar screen. And you're back. Okay, so that was a sample of IFS, part of an IFS session, although, of course, if you were working a real IFS session with a therapist or with a practice partner, you would have more ways of working with whatever came up in the session. Since I was leading a guided meditation and taking everybody through it at the same time, of course, we don't have that luxury here. But this will at least give you a flavor for part of an IFS session. If you were going to do a full session, the next thing you would do would be to ask the target part for permission to work with the exile, and then you would do a whole series of steps for getting to know the exile and healing the exile of the pain that it's carrying. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and then in the next video, I'll show you how you can actually learn IFS and learn how to work with your parts using IFS.